Hi, I'm Bran, and I love Tyler Hynes.
You can't do this because now I have to say I'm Dan. And
you gotta do it.
Tyler Hynes.
No, you said it.
The emails.
You said it.
Hynes.
You said it.
It's fair. We can even accuse you. You can hate me that. All right, first episode of work.
Then you say, Tyler.
Then you say,
I'm Tyler Hynes.
And
I'm Tyler Hynes, and I would love to see both these guys shirtless.
Yeah.
And this is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast. Brandon and friends host his podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
We're not doing it today, Tyler. We're not doing it.
No, you're not going to sucker this guy a second time and me once into this.
No, sir.
For those of you watching on Philo TV, philo.tv/DTH, you never know. Maybe we're lying on audio and we have done it. Yes. There's only one way to find out.
But we're all shirtless.
Yeah, Tyler, you got your requisite 5 layers on, so you could you're good to go, man. If we played any sort of game, we would never keep up.
We have somewhere to go here. I prepared so that I could take a few things off and still not be as naked.
I do appreciate that. I will say from this looks like you are in some sort of, what are you in right now? What room is what's the background is this?
I'm sitting in a cow, I think that's what that is.
A cow.
A cow chair.
Yeah.
But this is some sort of hotel.
You're in a hotel right now.
Yeah. That's my dog.
Okay.
I don't know if you can see him.
What's up, Rusty?
Came with you.
Right.
Now this is nicer than the last hotel we saw you.
That's true. I don't see any cigarette stains anywhere, which is great.
The last one was a motel, so in its defense, it was a different class experience.
Are you working on something? Are you working on something else already, Tyler?
Like for work, you mean?
Yeah.
I mean,
why are you in the hotel?
I'm not shooting, if that's what you mean. I'm not shooting something physically right now, but I am. There's always conversations and sort of things happening. But yeah, I'm in Los Angeles. That's why I'm in this thing.
I got you.
Los Angeles, California is where that is.
Oh, it's California.
It's California.
Good.
Tyler, welcome back to the show. It has been over a year since we last had you on the show, which has caused us to get messages.
People thought you were mad at us.
People think you're mad at us.
That's not a joke.
People
Tyler.
think that we're not okay. But this is to at least prove to those people that we do still like each other.
Well, why would they jump to that conclusion, though? What would be the assumption?
I don't know, Tyler. I don't know. There was a season where you came on a lot.
You were on like every week for a while. You were like a co-host.
You were basically a co-host, yeah.
And then you weren't. It could be that. It could be Time for Him to Come Home for Christmas, the movie, which I did not like at all. And maybe they thought you were mad at me for me saying it wasn't a good movie. I don't know.
Oh, is that right? Did you hate this movie?
I just thought, Tyler, and I love you. But the misunderstanding that happens in the beginning of that movie,
remind me what it was. The misunderstanding exactly.
I just know that we fast forward years, and then there's somebody who wrote down 2 phone numbers on a sheet of paper.
Oh yeah,
and didn't put one. Like it was a mess, in my opinion. The plot was an absolute mess in that movie, and I think people were like, "Man, they finally did it. They finally got Tyler angry, and he's not coming on the show." And I literally told people in person at Christmas Con, I was like, "No, like I love that guy. Like we're still good. We promise." So see, this is proof right here.
Well, let's set the record straight here. Look, I give no fault to anybody feeling any type of way about any of my movies. Brand, I'm curious, did you like this movie or no?
I did like this movie a good bit, in fact. But who cares what I think? Who cares what I think? I had a lot of fun with it, and I don't. Who cares? Who writes numbers on pieces of paper? I don't, but I don't care if you do. That's fine with me. I think your bigger problem with it was the fact that you liked her, but you didn't say it, and then she.
It basically causes death.
It basically does cause destruction.
It's like the same thing that happens in every Hallmark movie where the dude's around the corner of the staircase, the girl says something, and out of context, it sounds like she doesn't like him. And in most cases, that lasts 10 minutes. In your movie, it lasted 3 years and somebody died because you misunderstood the context of a situation. And I thought that was extreme, Tyler. I thought it was extreme personally.
I don't think it's extreme enough. I think people should just be careful out there.
Well, I'm interested. So So the thing is you're never wrong, Dan. Like, I mean,
don't say that, Tyler. No. I'm with this guy every day. He's wrong a lot.
It's a point of view, right? And these are all true statements, things that I might perhaps have even noticed. But the problem with this is that, and it's not really a problem because this is your job here on the show, but if you go down that road with every movie, doesn't it always lead you to the same conclusion? Because let's be real, we have to suspend a certain amount of disbelief most of the time in these things.
I'd be curious to hear your thoughts on the last movie that I did.
There's 50 minutes of it if you want to check it out.
Yeah.
But what was the takeaway on that? Was it? That's a great. But can I do this first? That's a great point. And I will say, every single movie or TV show that's not a documentary requires the viewer's suspension of disbelief. The great movies and TV shows make it to where you never notice. That is my firm opinion. The more you notice, the more taken out of it that you are. I think that's accurate. I think the kiss in Time for Him to Come Home for Christmas covers a multitude of sins for people. You're becoming the go-to kisser on Hallmark. I mean, you're, among other things, Tyler, like your kisses have become legendary. And so I think the kiss at the end of that movie has kind of gotten the mileage out of that thing.
Decky award-winning kiss.
Decky award-winning kiss.
Yes.
That's right.
Right. Yes.
Which is a pretty big deal.
It is a big deal. But hold on. I want to follow this through because I'm curious to know because again, you're not wrong. But these movies, there's always these things, and I find that my task in this and even other movies and television shows, this kind of a job of I think a lot of actors is to do exactly what you said, is to try to create the attention and intention somewhere else so that perhaps things that might be construed as unrealistic or perhaps a bit of a stretch, which again, life is pretty crazy. So that's usually somewhere where I start to at least justify it for myself. But if you go into, I mean, and again, like, you know, these movies are a certain kind of experience. This is obviously not what they're intended to do, is to sort of like make sure everything is all the T's are crossed and all the I's are dotted. But this movie in particular hung you up more than the average movie.
Well, and I think that here's why, is because the new movie, the picture movie, also has a ridiculous, like, if you just tell her I took the picture, the movie's done in 10 minutes. However, that takes place over 2 weeks. What happens in Time for Him to Come Home for Christmas is you're around the staircase, you hear something and you go, I'm running away. And then what happens is we have years later and the death of someone, and that finally brings you back by sheer coincidence. It just felt like that the tiny misunderstanding that happens in all of these movies led to just cataclysmic, catastrophic events in Time for Him to Come Home for Christmas. Whereas in most of them, it's really, really basic. It's like, I should have told you about this picture. I chickened out. I didn't want you to know that I was Shutterbot or whatever. And it's okay. But here's the thing, in that movie, you and Rhiannon, your chemistry is just off the charts. So like the movie can be kind of just a no-brainer, but you two like were sizzling. Like you guys were on your own playing field in that movie. And I think that is the thing that allowed it. Whereas my favorite of your movies, Unexpected Christmas, I think it all works. I think the fake relationship works. Trying to keep that from the parents works. I think the script is witty. I think Joy Lenz is at the top of her game.
But the same thing, if you just tell your family that you guys aren't together anymore, then you don't have a movie. There's always something like that, Dan.
But exactly right.
To my point, in that movie, it worked. Like it works. I bought into that world, and I wasn't asking that question. Whereas in the picture movie, I'm asking the question, but it's like, all right, it's 2 weeks. Who cares? He drives a motorcycle, whatever. In Time for Him, it's like, we're bordering on a half a decade here. Right?
Well, that was my issue. Here's what I'm gathering. There's a few factors at play here, and this might shine some light here.
I love it.
One is across the board with all things. It's just sort of a matter of what people hang up on and focus on.
Of course.
What's entertaining to me with all these things is to hear exactly that. Some people really focus on certain things that I don't expect that they really enjoyed, or certain things they didn't expect that they really hated. Like my best friend's mother, who is kind of my second mother, who's passed, rest in peace, love her, Kathy. I remember she talked to me about one of the movies I did, and she just could not let me live down my hair, just would not let it go. And I understand where she's coming from. This is what happens. I do the same thing when I watch TV. So anyways, so that's one factor. The second factor is the filmmaking side of this thing. Is, as filmmakers, how many avenues in which you're employing to tell this story are running so smoothly and being executed with just the right touch that exactly what you said takes place, where despite the fact that these things might exist in Unexpected Christmas or another one, you don't feel it as much because of what is taking place and how it's taking place, because it just moves and flows in a way that doesn't lose you along the way. And then the third thing is, you're talking about stakes, talking about the fact that the stakes were high in a time for you to come home for Christmas. But again, one might argue that the stakes aren't high enough in these Hallmark movies, and they want a little more juice, a little more, a little more depth to try to tackle things. And I think you can kind of fault it in both ways. But when you're telling a story in the time frame that we have, it's hard to get all three to fire. And honestly, like you have, I mean, because Marcy Holland, I think, did such an incredible job writing this sort of mystery and dabbling on the edge and making it work enough, certainly for me. And then, I mean, Paul and Kim as writers, there's just, they're just,
I mean, you're trying to catch lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean? Like, you're doing your part, and I think everybody is. You're trying to catch lightning in a bottle, and Hallmark makes 100 of these, and you're right. To get all three of those in a movie made in 15 days is really, really difficult.
I mean, heck, they don't even get it right with
big
movies that are made and for the big screen. Like, there's some where you're just like, man, what happened here with those people and that director? It should work, but it doesn't.
And
sometimes.
I think that's what's, like you're a big Paul Thomas Anderson fan. Like, his movies don't really play in that world. They're very unique to character driven pieces. But like a movie like here's a good, like Edgar Wright's Baby Driver. I love that movie. Like, love it. That movie is built on coincidence. Like, the whole movie plays to a rhythm of a literal soundtrack rhythm. And never once was I going, oh my gosh, how could that possibly work exactly at the beat of the drum? Because I knew that was like the conceit of the movie. Like, I knew that was, and so I was bought into that completely. And I think that's what we're going for, is that consistency. And to be fair, it's tough, man. It's tough to do all three of those. And you're doing your best out there. That's all I'm saying.
I feel no type of way about you having. I hear everybody's opinions about everything. Believe me, and it never ends. And I'm happy to hear it, because I'm just fascinated by how people interpret things and how they react to things, because it's always different. It's always kind of within the realm of what I expect, but then there's offshoots that always pleasantly surprise me, both negative and positive, and they're all just things that I'd like to understand and take with me, and then somehow it finds its way back into the work, for better or worse, or I can't fix it on that movie, and it just is what it is. But it's fun to hear it.
We haven't talked in this avenue since the Three Wise Men came out, and I want to know, we're now a few months removed from that. The response was wonderful. The ratings were great. I imagine there's conversations in some capacity as to, do we do something like that again? What intrigues you more, a continuation of that story, or doing something similar where you're getting to work with friends and cousins and whatnots, but doing a totally different story?
I think either has its positives, and it's kind of all positive, I think, in this certain circumstance, because, and I sort of expressed this to Paul when we were doing it, and Kim, because sometimes what can happen if you're making something and it turns out really well is you can kind of get like second season syndrome, where if something does well, people kind of don't understand what exactly happened and then try to chase themselves back to what it was in order to recreate the same thing that worked the first time. And I'm always very cognizant of what's happening while we're making these things. And what I was saying to Paul is, like, dude, just whatever you do at the other end of this, I think I know where this is going to land. Just understand and take in this moment in time so that you don't get confused about what happened. This is just a few of us in a room figuring out these things moment by moment after you and Kim did an absolutely wonderful job doing everything possible to set us up for a great movie. And I think it's kind of that simple. So whether it's us in some sort of new hijinks that evolves every movie, and every time you tune in, it's a new adventure, and we can play with that in ways that, you know, other movies wouldn't be able to, or it's a sequel with the same characters. I think all of it's a win. And I think we could do it. We could do it all day. I think I don't think it would dry up too quickly. So yeah, I definitely love those guys. Kim and Paul were down here just recently doing a lot of meetings, and Paul went to Universal with his kid. I managed to sort of sort that out for him, and it's just so good to see those guys doing what they're doing and just getting the appreciation that they so heavily deserve. The moment I met Paul, the moment I read Unexpected Christmas, I was very clear to him how I feel about how talented he is, and to see it kind of evolving as it is just like one of the most rewarding things ever.
That's all great. Are you in charge of Universal Studios? You said you managed to sort that out. You managed to sort that out.
I didn't want to say it.
They elected you president of Universal Studios.
Yeah, I didn't want to say it, but yeah, since you bring it up,
that's actually really awesome for you.
Really good, man. I know things have been going well for you, but yeah,
I've been busy, like I've been saying.
It's only one man. This guy is unbelievable. I will say this, Tyler. Now I do have a question. I have two questions, but one is, you know, your world has exploded over the last year and a half. I like, if you just mark it by Christmas cons, like, and what Christmas con looks like every year, and Rama Drama and these events where
Bramblefest,
Bramblefest, for instance, the lines are just like, but like, and you're such a great dude, and you would never say this because you're president of Universal Studios, but like I was at Christmas Con this year where people were in line and they were closing the doors, and it's like, Tyler's going to stay here till everybody gets the meet and greet they wanted. It's awesome. But I know you, and I've known you for going on 5 years now, and I know that you came from a place, you know, just a small town boy in Canada who literally would respond to everyone's comments on every social media site ever when you started doing this job. And Lord knows that is not possible anymore. So my legitimate question is how are you doing? Like, how are you doing with this world of like that's just exploded? Like, you literally have to have a handler take you from A to B. And I know you just want to walk around and hang out with people. How are you doing with that?
How's your heart?
How's my heart? Yeah, thank you. Are we going to cry on this podcast? Let's go.
Yeah, that's what we're about.
Yeah. How am I doing? I'm doing all right. I appreciate your consideration, Dan. I'm not sure that it's as fancy or spectacular as you might describe, but there's been a bit of an evolution, and I'm trying to adjust to that as best I can. I know that, like you're saying, I do very much enjoy a simple, sincere interaction, whether it be on social media or in person. And like, even, you know, it's hard. It becomes a little harder to be able to have that exact thing. I think I'm trying to find new ways to evolve that relationship and that dynamic with all of these things, and everybody that's sort of that I'm coming across. Like, even you guys, like, I love spending time with you guys. I want to spend time with you guys. I want to, you know, come and do your show, and there's a lot of other podcasts that I would love to go do, but I'm trying to find a balance to be able to continue to focus where focus should be set. And, you know, like texting with you, Brandon, being able to talk to you and being there for people like yourself that I really do care about and want to spend time with. This is paramount, more so than even doing podcasts or promoting these movies. And so I try to make this the focus. I try not to spend too much time talking about myself, which is why I haven't really done much of these, because I think at a certain point, nobody wants to hear me talk. and I can't assume that that's something that's desirable. Even the amount of movies that I'm making at a certain point, maybe, you don't want to see my face this much. I know I get like this with certain artists. And so it's become a bit of a balance, and it's an evolution to answer your question. It is a little tiring. I have been burning the candle in a lot of ends I didn't know even existed. I don't know how other people do it who are like, I'm very low on the totem pole, and so I'm just a guy who makes these nice movies that some people appreciate, and it seems to create a bit of a reaction. But other folks, I can imagine sort of what it is that they go through, and it's a very easy place to start behaving in ways that you don't want as a reaction to A, how other people are reacting to you, and B, just the sheer logistics of how to navigate day to day. Am I breaking up?
You're breaking up a little bit,
yeah.
but I think that's also the internet just confirming your thoughts. Like, we don't want to hear you, and so it's like breaking up, and it's just
I
like
think everyone unanimously would say that they've just had too much Tyler Hynes in their life. They don't want him talking anymore or see him on the TV screens. Are you kidding me, Tyler? Get out of here with this. I mean, God love you, man. But like, you're right now, I think if there was a Tyler Hynes movie of the week, people would be like, that's not enough Tyler Hynes.
I was thinking this morning, I was like, and this even goes to the question that you're asking. Like, I want to make good stuff with you. You guys are so talented, and this whole vibe is so good, and what you do is so. It all comes crashing down when I start breaking up because of my. Here we go. You're loading again. Because of my. Like,
unbelievable.
This morning I was like, why didn't I? I'm in LA. There's probably 4 trillion podcast studios here that like go, and they would probably have some perfect camera set up for us to sit there and do this and not have any of this sort of silliness. And you guys could get like a good quality image, not me sitting in my hotel room. And I'm like, why didn't I sort that out? And like, that's what I want to do. So,
you know what? We probably should have sorted that out.
Yeah. I think that's offended.
Something we should have done.
I do. If it didn't come in clear earlier, Tyler, at this point, the idea that you think anyone thinks you're around too much is patently absurd. And I need to say that, as much crap as I gave you about your last Christmas movie, I'm serious. Like, people are loving them some Tyler Hynes.
We have the opposite problem. We decided to go 5 days a week.
Yeah,
we don't want people to forget
more
about
of us. That may be accurate. But I will say the second parter of this, of what is, I've never seen someone, especially on the male leading side of things, as famous as you are in the Hallmark universe. And you can deny that all you want, but I think the numbers would bear that out. My question is that, are you still just taking, when they call you, are you still just going, they're like, we got your next movie, and you're like, all right, where do I go? Or do you now get to choose the movie that you want to do next? Like, because we've had other people on this show who've said Hallmark's open to a lot of ideas now. They're letting us pitch things they never pitched before. That's how 3 Wise Men and a Baby got made. That's how a lot of these movies get made. Are you now kind of starting on the ground floor, if it's not with Paul and Kimberly or whomever, and going, I want to make X, and then let's make it? Or are you still is Hallmark still calling you going, we got a movie about a photographer, and you're like, I'm in, let's do it? Like, what is it for you right now?
As long as I get to ride my hog.
On the line when I had that phone call, how do you know that it went down exactly like that?
I know.
The answer is, I think I could have always, had a say as to what I was doing, or maybe turned down movies and waited for a different one. I think that was always the case. There's a certain thing that this is, and what is the goal within that thing. And it's not quite like the old Hollywood system where you sit there and you wait for the perfect movie and the right project, and you go and make that thing, and then you can sit back and wait. Like, there's a way that these guys used to do it, like Gosling, and that's great. That's not the world that we live in with these movies, and that's not really what's good about them. what's fun about them is seeing a sort of continuous variation of what's the same people in different circumstances. And I think the reality is about the way these things go down between the moment that I sign on to do a movie and it comes out on your TV, there is a million things that transpire that can make it good or make it less good. And if I were to sit here and just go like, this is a good script, I'm doing this, and this is why I should do this, I think I would be shortchanging certain experiences, certain challenges of my own. And it's just not, it's not quite how this machine works. And to answer your question, do I have those conversations? Yes. Has things evolved? Absolutely. Will things get better? I think so. And I think everybody's trying their best. And so I try to be a team player and try to identify where the value is, and also realize that the value can sometimes come in places that you don't expect. A picture of her, Rhiannon, was such a talent and was so good at what she does that we were able to sort of do things that may not have been the case otherwise. And we're able to find strengths and things, to what we're talking about earlier, to which you could focus on that would make this movie worthwhile on that merit. And maybe it has other shortcomings, and this can kind of go the same for all of the movies. But you just try to find the thing that's tasty about that thing. And you don't necessarily have to, I've learned that you don't necessarily have to have everything right from the jump for it to work out that way. There's too many things that happen in that process that can change the trajectory of it. But that being said, it's also abundantly clear to me that when you have all the boxes checked, it just leads to a much better movie. Andrew, Paul, Kim, our co-stars, Terry Ingham directing. And obviously like a really good script to begin with, our executives having faith in sort of what we're doing and letting us sort of get on with it, as well as helping shape and guide things. These are all, when you have it all, it just turns out that way. It's kind of that simple. And that's why when I say like I kind of know where it's going more or less before it comes out, and then I'm always surprised, it seems, but that's kind of what it is. So to answer your question, it is an evolution. I do have those conversations. Things might get more interesting because of that. But the machine is not as black and white as that. And so there's a margin for.
Plus, you have your mom reading the scripts as they come in and telling you
every time.
Not. So
every single time.
That helps. I want to take a quick detour and talk about the other project that you've been putting out in the world, Charcuterie Board. What's it called?
It's definitely called Charcuterie Board.
What Board. Everybody keeps saying Chimera.
Chimera. Was that when we did the thing in the motel? My shirt was off. Were you scouting for that? Was that what that was for?
That's correct.
Yeah. I watched it. I loved it. I want more. I think it's really fascinating. Can you talk really quickly about that project and why you chose this avenue, or how your team chose the avenue to do the thing on the website with the countdowns and the questions and putting it out in the different ways in which you put it out? It was an interesting release strategy, if you will. You
said strategy like they didn't know what strategy meant, Brand. That could not have been a more insulting way to ask.
No.
That strategy you use, Tyler. You know the one.
I don't know. I know. I find all of that like. I think a lot of times people.
It's a gimmick. All of it's a gimmick. Everybody's trying to get people to watch things.
I just think by and large we overhype the word strategy like that. Like it's either sometimes things work, sometimes they don't. Yeah. You decided to put things out the way you put them out. Why'd you do it? What was the strategy? Dang it.
The strategy is the opposite of what Dan just said, is not to be gimmicky. Like the whole point of it is, it all started very simply with my friend who was at a crossroads creatively, and he wasn't sure if he wanted to follow the road of being a filmmaker. He's very talented, very successful in his field, and is a very lovely gentleman. I said, well, what if you wanted to do anything as a job, what would that be? And he said, be a filmmaker. And I said, well, this is a very sad ending to a story that, in my opinion, hasn't really fully begun yet. You've tried to make something and you had a lot of chips stacked against you. So why don't we just, as a friend, with no, expectations or pressure, what if we just put you in a circumstance where you can really see if this thing is for you? And we'll put it in a contained situation, and me and you will just get after it for a minute. And at any point in the process, you say, this is not for me. It's too much work. Or it's too hard. I don't get it. We'll just pull the plug, and all we will have lost is some time, some energy, maybe a bit of money, and we will have had the memories. So that's the whole impetus of the project. And then it just evolved over time. And even with the release, it was a conversation of like, we can go to festivals or we could do this or that. And we had certain individuals who we greatly admire sort of reached out to us in the process of making it and said that they were interested in it as a thing. And I said, well, look, man, let's just finish it. And then when we finished it, we're like, well, what do we want to do with it? Do we want to go to festivals and do something, or like, why are we doing this? I always ask myself, what is it? Like, the intention behind what I'm doing is what I try to approach everything with, even doing these podcasts. Like, I'm not just coming on here to talk about myself because this is the last thing I want to do. I'm coming on here for a very specific reason. And that reason is to light Dan up for roasting my movie. The reason is to come here and be with you guys and spend some time. And I care about you guys. I want to, contribute to the talent that you guys have, however I can. And that's why I'm here. No other reason for it than that. And with the release of the thing, I went, we can do all that, or we can just make a playground for the people that I care about. All the people who seem to want to go the extra mile to see, to make something that would be immersive, that's contributive to the experience itself, which is this ambiguous thing that allows room for interpretation and participation from an audience. So how do we dig deeper as an experience? That's why we came up with the release the way it did. And I wanted to see, if the folks who seem to want to spend time watching my face doing things, if they would take to this kind of material. It's the sort of ultimate sort of sounding board, because they like movies that are very different than this. And if they did, then this would be a really interesting experience and an experiment. And I can't tell you how absolutely insanely rewarding and incredible that result was, because of my friends and everybody who had worked in it, like Ash and all the other collaborators we worked with. They were just like exhilarated, touched beyond belief in the thoughtfulness and the intelligence of how people were articulating what they thought it was, what it meant to them, what they think it should be, and how that continued to build a community with people finding friendships or commiserating sort of over this subject matter. Just kind of like they do with the Hallmark movies, but almost even more immersively because of the way that we released it. They really kind of enjoyed it. So the answer to the question is, why did we do it that way? Certainly not for strategy. I can't tell you how many of my friends, I was at dinner last night with two talented people who are well connected, and they're explaining to me like, where can I see it? And I go, you cannot see it. I made an experience for people who wanted to take the time to really experience something and have a moment and let it be fleeting and shared and sort of beautiful.
So it's gone now. The website's just gone. Oh yeah.
Well, no, what's up now is a memorial to everybody who participated. It's kind of like, because again, it's a reactionary process. We watched everybody sort of do that, and me and Ash discussed, and I said, look, I think we do something like this. And he liked the idea, and we evolved it into like, let's let the website live now with just a fraction, because that was all we were able to get in the time that we had, of the 10,000 plus sort of comments and interactions and speculations and observations and conversations that were taking place around this sort of ambiguous, immersive piece of work. And we just put it up, and you see this sort of huge collage of a lot of them. That's just a very small fraction of them. And then it scrolls through the comments so that people who participated in this can go and watch and see their comment or see someone else's comment, read other people's theories. It's all sort of with the intention of just, because we make these things that are so disposable. You kind of watch them and then you throw them away. And what's sort of lovely about these movies that I've been doing, it seems that people kind of recycle them and they keep experiencing them and then remixing them and taking images from them, filling it with their creativity and their expression, and then sharing that with their friends around a subject matter that they all agree on and are interested in. And it just becomes a playground for them. And I'm finding myself more than anything just wanting to be a facilitator of that playground, because it seems to be blossoming such beautiful relationships and making people very happy and finding community, which I think is one of the most important things to do, or one could be pursuing, I think, if they're in a job of some kind. And so that's kind of what I'm spending my time doing. And that's why we released it that way, because I think it was a means to just go like, what's the coolest decision to make here? And that is to service the people who really care about what we're doing. And those are the people that I have all the time in the world for. And all my friends who didn't know the password to be able to watch it, and Ash's friends, they were frustrated, and we went, sorry. I mean, Brand was texting me, and I'm going, yeah. Did I give you the password?
No, I got it. I got it. I figured it out.
Oh, you got it? Okay.
Yeah.
Because I have buckled for a few individuals, but I like, it's like all these people were so and again, like where this goes from here, it may evolve, how we want to, there may be another opportunity to see it. I don't know. But what I do find really interesting that is where the sort of interest is for me is a continuous dialogue and conversation of, I kind of do something and present it in a way that doesn't fill it with my opinions of it or explain it to people too much. And then either an audience or someone who might be interested can then take it and do with it what they want. And I get to witness that take place. And then I get to react to that. And it becomes a sort of continual evolution and relationship that develops. And I think that's been something really interesting. And it only truly takes place because of the individuals who seem to be taking to this material. They just are. If it was a toxic environment, I wouldn't be there. But because it's so positive and so thoughtful, I'll respond in kind with as much thoughtfulness as I can muster, because everybody's being so considerate on their end.
Well, the project, the project was good.
Tyler,
you do talk
so
about
much about yourself, man.
It's
unbelievable.
Well, I'll just say this, because I think you will appreciate it. I think the real star of that piece was not you. I think there's two stars. I think one is the audio mix was amazing. Yeah. I watched it with headphones on, and
good.
Was fantastic. And then the final product of the thing, the whatever you want to call it, alien creature thing, looked awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
So, and you were okay. So
you were fine. You were fine.
I mean, you turned on.
I think you said 6 of 10 is what you said.
Well, yeah, you turn on water, but I felt like you went a little fast with the knob and so. But that's just me. I'm being nitpicky at that point. That's just me. I know that you gotta go. Dan, do you have anything else?
I had a question about a picture of her, but if Tyler's got to go, I'm gonna let him go. That's what we're gonna.
Don't worry, Brand. Don't worry about it. I pushed the thing after this. I didn't want you guys to feel like you have to rush this. You do whatever you want to do. I'm here for you.
My question's not important, but I do have one about a picture of her, Tyler, and it's this.
Yeah.
We've seen.
Don't feel the time frame, guys. Seriously, do whatever you want as far as the time. I'm here, and whenever you want to let me go, I'll go.
God bless him. This guy. We've seen dozens of Hallmark movies where one of our protagonists is a photographer, and they treat the profession of photography like it stole something from them most of the time. It's awful. They're terrible, typically terrible pictures. The person who claims to be a photographer just does a camera like this, and then they're like, "Oh, look at that great shot." The pictures are bad.
There's been some fingers in front of
the finger in the lens for it's a mess. Yeah, you can. It's a mess. And so I was not shocked that your movie like did better with photography. I mean,
the movie opens up with a montage of basically photographer porn. Like it's just like you just like fondling the camera.
It was. So my question is that this was the first time that it appeared that we have respected the profession of photographer as a protagonist in a Hallmark movie. And it wasn't just like, let's do it right. It was above and beyond. It was very like artistic how they went about showcasing what a photographer does. And I want to know how much of that was brought in by the script and the DP, and how much of that was you in character saying, if my character's a photographer, they need to be doing these things. I guess that's my question.
Yeah. Well, to answer your question and to sort of reference back to an earlier answer, I have no credit in that. Like I said, these things take place as a series of events, and sometimes they can be fortunate, sometimes they can be unfortunate. In this particular circumstance, I mean, and again, how these things evolve, I don't know. Maybe in some way, the fact that I care might make a difference for some folks. I don't know. But regardless, in this circumstance, I take no credit for that. Mel Ward, who's our cinematographer, who did an absolutely spectacular job. It was one of the things I really did enjoy about this movie is her work, and she's one of she's a rare breed. There's not a lot of female cinematographers out there, and she is a gangster and a legend behind the camera, and she really makes beautiful images, and I was really happy with it. And she and her team were the ones who were responsible for and the production designer as far as sourcing the images that this character was taking. One of the things, the director of our movie, his son is a friend of mine who happens to be one of the most talented filmmakers around, as well as a really, really talented photographer. And that's something I mentioned to him when I first met with him, was like, if you can get Miles's photos in these movies, believe me, I'm all for it. Let's get Miles paid and let's use his photos. Because if anybody's as close to this guy, as you know, Miles is just crazy talent. So that didn't end up happening, but they've sorted this out to my very pleasant surprise. And the gear in which they had, the set dressing in which they had, the education, because I had never operated a Hasselblad camera before. They were all there for me for all of that. So it is not at all in part to me that it turned out in that regard. I'm really happy you feel that way, because that could have been, again, like a big swan dive into the shallow end if we just had some corny photos.
Oh, that's every other movie. That's why I was clearly giving you too much credit here. I honestly thought you were like, if I'm going to do this, it's going to be done like correctly, because my character wouldn't be a bad photographer. Because I'm gonna have to show you some clips, Tyler, of some other Hallmark movies and how they handle photography, because that was one area in that movie where you guys like 100% got it right. So good for you guys.
I mean, the bike was a different conversation. The bike,
heard about that
helmet. Oh yeah. How did you hear about that?
We just heard from different sources that it was a little bit of a conversation of you getting to ride your bike.
We have a weekly lunch with Wanya, and we do. She gives us the the old rundown. I don't know. There was some article somewhere that said that originally you weren't. Maybe it was Jared, just Jared, not any of the other.
He went to Jared.
Did you? That was like they weren't going to let you for insurance, and then you were like, literally the only reason I'm here is to ride a bike. Like I'm not bringing anything else to the table. I just ride bikes. I wouldn't have taken this job if it wasn't for the bike. I will say this: why stop at the bike though? Like you didn't get the toothpick. You didn't do toothpick. Yeah. Rusty, you had a perfect opportunity to get Rusty his first gig, and you didn't do it. So
there is a toothpick in there.
Okay, there is. Wow.
Yes.
But Rusty's not in it.
Rusty, I don't know that he's ready for the big leagues.
Okay. Well, it's like this is a conversation we have. Like, would you let your kids act? That's right. And I think it's similar to that. Like,
he's gonna go grab the dog. We go. Of course.
No, the answer is absolutely not.
No way. Rusty's
Hollywood is ready for him. I don't think he's ready for Hollywood.
I think that's fair. I mean, look at this guy. He's just owning the world. I mean,
gosh.
Tyler, on that note, this character seemed to be the closest of all your characters to who you like. This seemed as close to Tyler Hynes as any character I've watched you play on Hallmark or anywhere else. Would you agree with that? Is this the closest one to Tyler Hynes of any of the characters you played?
He was riding around on a motorcycle and
chewing a toothpick. I mean, that helps a lot.
Yeah, taking pictures and complaining that people maybe don't care about art. So yeah.
And you also you do.
Yeah, I think that's you.
Exactly. You are a paparazzi at night. Is that right?
You're a paparazzi at night.
You're paparazzi
when you're not at Universal Studios.
Right. When you're not running
rides for everybody,
Exactly.
making sure everybody has their hands inside the cart and everything.
Right.
I have one more question, and then we can do a rapid fire.
I love it. Great. I love it.
I know that you are you're working on other things. You've got the Hallmark Worlds. You also have you want to live a life of playtime. How much in your perfect worlds, what is the breakdown of doing projects like the charcuterie board projects? The projects that are just like me and my buddies doing something that's fun. How much of it is Hallmark and the like that are like, these are projects that the people that have coined the phrase Hynes have come to they love these movies, so I want to make these movies for them. And then how much of it is the like just other stuff? Like in your ideal worlds, what's the percentage makeup, or do you not give it that much thought?
Well, what I'm trying to do is merge all those things together, because I'm realizing that compartmentalizing doesn't work. There's too much kind of to be done at this point. And so I'm trying to merge it all together without, and it's been a challenge. Like my brother helping me with the boot shot tradition, which you gentlemen partook in, and I was very happy to see that.
Wonderful.
Makes me so happy to see it. You have no idea. But my brother, my friends, we did that thing together, and there may be more of that, Paul and Kim and what we do behind the scenes, and some of the producers and friends that I now have on that side of the Hallmark side, that's evolving into a thing. And then the projects that I'm doing outside, I'm trying to, and then the audience seems to be participating in it all to some degree, charcuterie board and whatnot. And so I'm trying to merge it all together. And so what it ends up turning into is like 90% everything, everywhere, all the time, and 10% naps, and that's which I need fair. More of. I need more naps. I'm like
rapid fire. My first one can be rapid fire. Oh, I'm sorry. I was talking to Brand. I'm sorry. You're good. I thought you broke up there for a second. Sorry.
You want to do rapid fire?
Yeah, let's do rapid fire.
Well, we each get to ask you 3 questions, and then maybe we'll even let our producer Aaron ask a question.
That's right.
I know. And you have to answer them as honestly as, but you don't have to do anything, Aaron. I was just throwing it. You go ahead.
Are we getting close, Tyler, to you having to pull like an Andrew Walker and move part-time to Los Angeles?
I don't know, man. I think about,
I'll consider that a yes.
I want to go to Costa Rica. That's where I want to go to the island in Greece and just disappear is what I want to do. But yeah, I don't know. If I were to get a place here, I wouldn't be in it half the time or more anyways. Like I literally, for the rest of this year, I don't know how much I'm going to be home, if at all. We're going to find out. But yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. And that's a whole thing to figure out. So right now it's hotels like this.
Well, it's a good thing you spent all that money like renovating that cabin in the woods.
Yeah, the cabin in the woods is coming up huge right now.
It's really paying off. It's really paying off. Which I actually have a call after this about that. It's getting there. It's getting there.
It's getting there. If you could unlimited monies, the perfect hog for you to ride, what's your dream motorcycle?
My motorcycle is just fine. I don't need a lot of things. As you can tell, I don't I wear the same clothes every interview, different backgrounds, same outfits, same bike, same dog, same everything, same water bottle. I don't need a lot. My dream bike is my bike. I won't change it for anything.
That's really nice.
Wow, there you go. Yeah. In this interview, Tyler, you've gone chewing gum and toothpick together. Have you ever dared to make the world stop and gone chewing gum, toothpick, and cigarette all at once?
Yeah, the answer is yes. And, this is how we ante up, guys. It's just got to get bigger and bigger every time.
That's right. Sequelitis.
Chewing tobacco, smoking a cigarette with a toothpick, while drinking from my drink.
That's right. Tune in next year for 10 wise men and a baby.
I mean, one of my fondest memories is just rolling a cigarette with my friend Tyler and smoking it in New Jersey. Right? It's a great memory.
Something about it.
Cigarettes are awesome, guys.
Yeah. I haven't been smoking. I haven't.
Have you not?
I go through periods. No, yeah, I go through periods. I always have where I don't smoke for long periods of time, and then pick it up here and there. There's something I don't drink coffee. I don't drink a ton of alcohol. I don't do drugs. So this is the sort of one little escape for me. And there's something I've realized I just love the 50s and the 60s, and there's a lot of smoking back then. And
there you have it. That was part of life in the movies back then, for sure.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Most recent movie that you saw, and what was your thoughts on it?
Oh yeah, I watched the Black Dahlia recently.
Oh wow, Brian De Palma, Black Dahlia.
Brian De Palma.
Yeah.
Speaking of the 50s, and exactly like I missed the days of bigger budgets for sprawling movies that maybe don't do what an audience might hope, but delivers in so many different ways. Kind of to your point, Dan, about where your focus is. Why are you watching this movie? What's the enjoyment in it? And so good. Josh Hartnett's so good looking. I reintroduced a friend of mine to Josh Hartnett. They'd never seen The Faculty, and I was like, The Faculty. And if you really think about it, remember his hair in The Faculty? Have you seen this movie?
No. I know the poster of The Faculty, but I've not seen. Oh my
goodness! Go watch The Faculty. It's a classic. It was like teenage high school aliens, and Josh Hartnett had my bowl cut and Always Amore, except the back went up. Everything went down and the back went up, and I was like, yeah, there's something to that. And the person I was with was like, that's the wackest haircut I've ever seen in my life. And I'm like, I love it. I love it all day. I want it.
Tyler, what are you because you're so busy, you're traveling around, you're doing all this stuff, you wish you were in Costa Rica. What are you listening to or watching to just unwind? Like when you have the 5 minutes where you're not napping or doing something. What's that right now?
All I'm listening to is old French music.
Of course, that's what I told you earlier.
We had a debate about this.
I said it's old French music. You were like, no, it's not.
I said movie scores like a moron.
Yeah.
Well, that too. It's a mix of this morning was movie scores and kind of spa type music, and then it'll be if I'm feeling a little playful, if I want to get on the hog, as you called it, around and go do something. It's been Bridget Bardot, and it's like old French music. And I don't know what's happened to me. My mother's French, and I'm posting it on Instagram. She's like, "What are you doing listening to this music? This is what I used to listen to." And you would probably make fun of me if I showed it to you, but you love it. Couldn't love it more. And then, as far as what I'm watching, just finished Formula One.
Yeah, I hear that's amazing.
New season, fantastic. Yeah, there's a new R. Kelly documentary that I'm watching. Lots of good, fun stuff out there that is in the docu world, I find.
I love it.
Yeah. And Succession. Succession's
amazing.
I watched the entire season.
Dude, The last episode had me rolling. I loved it. The whole show's great. This week's
I haven't watched it. I haven't watched it.
This week's episode's fantastic. You got to check it out immediately. Really, really good.
Good. Yeah.
My last one is: are you excited about coming to Bramblefest this year?
Yeah, thrilled. Super excited. I can't wait to be online and watch what you guys get up to.
Oh my gosh, this guy. Listen, go ahead.
When is it? What time of year is it?
It's July.
It's in July this year.
14th and 15th, okay. Tyler.
This is a tough time, boys. This is a tough time.
We will see you. We will see you in Kansas City.
Yeah, I think they announced that, right? Didn't they put something out?
They announced it. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be there.
Yeah. So I'll be there.
We will be there. Go ahead. Well, in fact,
we've not told anybody.
We haven't told anybody.
We can tell you though.
We can tell you, but you don't tell any. You don't tell anybody.
We're breaking news for you. Yeah, you don't say anything though. On the Thursday night before Christmas Con, we're going to do a little live show in Kansas City. We're going to be live at a bar in the area doing a little show, and I think it's going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be great. It's gonna be a great time.
And that's the Thursday meeting before the whole weekend.
The day
night.
before Christmas Con starts. Yeah.
Epic.
Yeah.
I love it, guys. Good hustle. And nobody knows this. They're going to find out when they watch this podcast. We're breaking.
I guess
probably
so.
We'll have to announce it and like sell some tickets or something. I guess to pay for the flight out there and what have you. But no one knows as of this moment. Correct.
We're breaking news all the way. Aaron, do you have a question?
Aaron Shea, producer.
Aaron? Producer Aaron.
Question. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have two actually.
Okay, we said you could have one,
Good
Aaron.
God.
Go ahead.
One's really quick. Instead of LA, how about moving part-time to Greenville and hosting a show with the guys?
Wow.
Like that's a good
and
question.
I just want that wasn't our idea,
wasn't
but
our
I
question, Tyler. And I'm just saying, the people are asking for it. You want to do what the people want. I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, producer Aaron, what's your question?
Did you hear the question, Tyler?
I heard the question. I just thought it. Sorry, Aaron. This was no disrespect. You didn't hang up immediately after your question. Thank you for that question. Where is Aaron? How come I can't see Aaron?
She's the producer, but we can try to get an Aaron cam in here.
I don't hate it, Aaron cam.
Yeah, I'm definitely on board for an Aaron cam. Thank you for the question, Aaron. Yeah, I mean it's lovely out there. I don't think I've ever spent time out there.
Until Bramble Fest.
Until Bramble
Fest, of course.
2023.
Go ahead.
Right. And it would certainly solve the problem of whatever we keep dealing with the internet cutting out about
We'll do that.
person doing this.
Yeah.
I thought about that too, man. Like there's nothing I would love more to be in the studio with you guys. I think it would just make for a better show. It would be more fun and we wouldn't have this thing that kills me where it keeps cutting out. And like, does that show up on the other end when people watch it? Is it's going to be all
we'll
glitchy?
we'll get it.
We'll get it cleaned up, Tyler. Don't worry. We're professionals.
Aaron's a pro.
Yeah, helps me out.
Aaron, you had a real question?
Yeah. So just, I mean, that was real too. Feel free.
Right.
To come to Greenville.
Feel free.
Yes,
the real
thank you.
question was, on your Instagram stories, I really like the music that you choose for the videos you post. I was just wondering if you had like a favorite composer or something that you constantly went back to.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. I really appreciate that. Because sometimes, going through the trouble to do that, I wonder if it is enjoyable for anybody else. And I do hear that people enjoy it sometimes. So thank you for that. It means a lot. Johnny Greenwood is somebody I always get. The score to Phantom Thread is one of the most beautiful pieces of work I've ever heard.
You love that movie.
Yeah, shoot. Who else? But There'll Be Blood. Like Johnny Greenwood is definitely up there. Let's go on my phone right now because my brain is dead. But there is Austin Farwell is somebody I've been listening to. I don't know that he does score music, but he does like just beautiful music. Who do I have? John Hopkins I've been listening to a lot lately. I don't think he scores films, but I think his music has been used in films.
Is that the hospital guy? John Hopkins Hospital?
Yeah, John Hopkins. Yeah, you're right. It is
John Hopkins.
Oh, that's John's.
Right.
Multiple Johns.
Yeah, right.
One Hopkins. Got it.
Max Richter is also a favorite of mine. He did the Ad Astra score. So yeah, those are a few of the gentlemen.
Great question.
Great job,
Better
Aaron.
than our question.
Great job,
really
Aaron.
good job.
Well, he's been using the French music recently, and I really like that song. But just
good. Yeah,
have it.
that'll probably be a thing for a minute because it doesn't seem to be getting old. That's all I'm listening to.
Have you thought about not doing that though, like to free up time, like maybe hire Aaron and Aaron will do it for you?
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, what's that? To post?
Yeah, to post stuff.
Yeah, I get asked. Like even my friends are like, I saw a friend of mine I hadn't seen in years, and he thought that somebody had been handling my social media, and I don't know exactly what gave him that impression, but no, I do everything myself, and it is time consuming. And yeah, I would love it if somebody else did it, but I just don't know. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how to delegate that out. Also, I don't know. It just seems like there's a threshold where things start to become insincere. Like if you're posting and it becomes like a business, then what are we doing in the first place? Like, what's the point? Just don't do it. I feel like maybe there's a perfect world where somebody were to do it that I really trust, who it can still feel the same or still have. I don't know that materializes. I might even just leave all of social media altogether, because why not? And yeah.
I mean, I didn't let anybody else produce a show for 5 years. So
it is one of those things to where when you have creative control over something and you care about it, you don't just hire out for that. You don't hire, like you have to have someone that's like-minded because you feel as though, you know, I can almost imagine it's, you know, you're kind of directing the film of your career. You can't just find somebody and go do this and I'll just check back in with you. Like you care about this stuff. You care about the characters you perform. You care about that stuff. And I think we care about how we're portrayed, as loony bins as that sounds. And so I think that makes sense to me. Tyler, when I see your social media posts, I know that you're putting them out. There's no veneer on them. You've taken a lot of time to do that. And I think for someone who is just like low maintenance, wear the same stuff, ride a motorcycle, I do think creative control is important to you on the things that you get to do in your career. And so I think there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, but it is a task. It is an undertaking, like, you know, finding everybody's tags and stuff and making sure everybody's sort of acknowledged that takes some doing. And like, but yeah, there's something about it that if it's somebody else, it just feels like I'm talking at people and I'm not even doing it. It's somebody else talking at, and I in real life, I have a bit of averse to like people talking at me, like just like wanting to send me whatever they want to send me or tell me whatever they want to tell me with no interest in a response. And I think if it becomes that way for me, I don't know how I'd want to participate. But I could be wrong. Like you said, like we were talking earlier, like there is a lot to be done. I am certainly trying to navigate everything as best I can and not lose myself in it and lose what I like about it. And that takes some doing, but maybe there's an evolution where, maybe I could have a collaborator in that regard that I really love. And we were able to, that would be fun. And maybe there's a way that exists. Aaron, you want a job?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Well, Erin ran our stories, and she did nothing but Taylor Swift for I think 2 weeks. So
it was 1 week.
Not a bad choice.
It was a great week, though.
It was in
Strong
honor
choice
of her opening tour. So.
Yeah, which we talk about all the time too.
Yeah,
like,
we're big. Yeah,
nonstop over here. Tyler, we love you, buddy. Thanks for coming on. We look forward to hanging out with you at Bramble Fest this year. It's gonna be so much fun. Do you have anything else you want to tell the people?
I want to tell them that I love you guys, and I'm so happy to see you guys doing what you're doing. I'm so grateful that I get to I know the encounters are brief at these things now, which again is I've been unfortunate, and I would love to come be a part of your life and stuff like that. And maybe there's a world where that happens, but I'm just really excited to see what you guys do. And I'm just so proud of what you guys do. And I think you guys are mega talents and good human beings. And Aaron, please make them better, because it's a sinking ship.
Yeah.
We are trying.
God bless you, sir.
I'm working on organizing them first.
Yeah, that's the tough part.
That's what we're trying to do. Yeah. Buddy, until next time, may we be the first to wish you a Merry Christmas.
Deck the Hallmark's a Bramble Jam podcast is produced by Aaron Shea. For more information on Deck the Hallmark, you can go to deckthehallmark.com. For more information on the Deck the Hallmark family, you can go to bramblejamplus.com. Deck the Hallmark is presented by Philo TV. For a free trial of Philo, go to philo.tv/DTH.